4, 3, 2.
We ready right now.
Yeah.
All I know is this violates every canon of respectable broadcasting.
How are you?
Hey, who wants to help me get this recorder out of here? I need some muscle over here.
You are listening to Blame Your Brother.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, everybody, to Blame Your Brother. We are back once again for episode 251. It's an amazing number. We are streaming the show right now live on YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/blameyourbrother, Thursday nights, 8 p.m., you can come hang out with us. Lots of fun things to get into tonight. We got to talk about R. Kelly, Britney Spears, and we're doing Mount Rushmore of Fictitious Bands. So we're going to run down the best bands that didn't actually exist but existed in our hearts. So we're looking forward to that. But before we do all that, we're going to get started. I am one half of this duo. I am David, a.k.a. D-Brew, voice of people, Mr. Glenn Jackson, the spiritual midget, Mr. Wonderful, and this gentleman sitting over here on my left, it's John.
Hey, everybody, John here, a.k.a. Tico, a.k.a. Mr. Groupon, Mr. PTI, the Madman.
They got John Tortorella, a madman.
They do have madman.
Okay, he's a madman.
All right. So, yes, David and John, Blame Your Brother, coming at you. So let's just go ahead. We'll get started. We did last week best board games. We got a few comments. People seem to like that one, and they agreed that we hit most of the high marks. So if you missed that one, go back and listen to episode 250 and, do that. Well, this has been an interesting week for me. I don't know that I've talked much about my grandmother on the show. My mother passed away in March from pancreatic cancer. And I found out about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, that my grandmother, who's 80, she was 83, I think, 83, 84, somewhere in there. She got some type of stomach cancer as well, and she was put in hospice, and we knew things were not good. Well, I got a text message from my sister, I believe, and just said, Granny's at the hospice right now. If you want to come see her, you probably need to do it.
This is the time.
Like sooner than later, right? And I was at work. It was Friday at work. I was sitting there, and I was like, maybe I'll go on Sunday. I mean, I'm sure it'd be fine. And my wife's like, you need to go like right now. And I was like, all right, fine. So I was told work, like, I'm out of here. I'm leaving. So I drive out there. It's out in Dixon, Tennessee, which is, not too far. It's like 45 minutes away. And I get out there, and I go into the room, and she's not very lucid, and they're like, well, she just had her medicine. So I said hello to her, and she said hi back, and then she was out. And I guess from what I hear, so I stayed, for a little bit, stayed there with my sister and my aunt. We're all in the room and, just whatever, just sitting there watching her. And so I left, and I went and saw my granddad, who lives in the same area. They're not married, they're divorced, and he lives in the same area. He's dealing with his own stuff. He just got out of the hospital he fell down in his house, hit his head on the fireplace, and so he had to get rehabilitated for that, to learn how to walk again. He had a stroke a while back. He's starting to have dementia problems. So he's lost a bunch of weight, but I mean, he still seemed in good spirits. You can still see the old spirit of him in it, but you can see he says certain things where you're like, oh, he's losing his memory, obviously, But anyway, that was Friday. And then I got the text on Sunday that my grandmother had passed away, at 7:30, I believe it's Saturday. Yeah, I was out Saturday. 7:30 Saturday, she passed away. And I guess her sister was there and her daughters were there and all that. And I just think, and so, I don't even know how to process this information. I was telling you before the show started. I mean, I obviously growing up, I was around my grandmother quite a bit. I would stay at her house, when my parents worked. All those family members, all the cast and crew, I was very familiar with my aunts, all their, people they knew. And it was just kind of it was like being at Cheers to me. I was like, I knew all these people. They're all characters, I'm more surprised, I haven't written some type of TV show, because these people, I mean, you've met most of these people. They are characters. We couldn't write a movie about some of these people. But so I remember her always being around, and just, I went to my first concert ever with her. I used to go to her work, and we ended up years later as an adult, we worked at the same place, worked at Cracker Barrel together. So, I mean, she's someone that's always been around in my life, but as I got married and had kids, I would see her less and less. I'd see her just at events, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all that. So, And I just watched her health deteriorate quite a bit over the last 5-6 years. And I think that was easier for me to process than when my mother passed away, because that was just like out of the blue. And this, I don't know, I felt a sense of closure among her death. I mean, she watched her daughter die, which, I mean, no one wants to do that.
Yeah.
You never want to see your kids die. And so I haven't, I think about my mom every day. Like, there's not a day goes by that I'll do something, just walking around the house, I'll just think of her, And so I'm still like, I don't know. I think there's a theory that I'm still like processing that, And so this death here comes along, and I'm just like, I don't have the emotional capacity right now to deal with this.
Yeah.
Now the memorial's supposed to be in a month, and maybe it'll be different then. But right now, I understand. Like, I've thought about her, I thought about the things, but I don't know. Man, I think just, obviously there's levels of grief you can have, but I think when your mom passes, I mean, you know this as well as I do, that it just takes a lot of your grief capacity away. It's like, especially in the same year, 6 months apart.
Well, I mean, if you lose $50,000 and then like 3 months later you lose $1,000.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not that bad, right?
yeah.
But I just think cancer is just, it's undefeated. I mean, I know we've gotten better with handling it. Joanna, my wife's friend, her son had cancer at 16 years old, and he beat it. I'm like, well, thank God, at least there's some. But it seems once you get to a certain age, you get cancer. That's it. That's a wrap,
Yeah.
And it just seems, as far as we've come in technology and science and medicine, like, this would be something we've cured AIDS, man. Like, if you told us back in the 80s that AIDS
in the 90s.
Yeah, would be cured, you would have been like, no, never.
Yeah.
And like that, but cancer is like the one thing we can't figure out. And there's obviously Alzheimer's, dementia, things like that. But even then I read studies where they're making some breakthroughs on that. Cancer is just like, yep, sorry, your body says it's time to go if you don't catch it quick enough. So I've been off all week from work for that. And I have been taking some time just to kind of relax and process things a little bit. But, just another, what a year. I mean, it's life is so crazy, because like there'll be some great things that happen, and then there'll be the worst thing that happened. Then something great happens again. I mean, like, mother dies. All right. Just in a year, moving to a new house. All right. Go to college, finish that up. Awesome. Okay. Oh, my mom dies. That's terrible. Oh, my kids have birthdays. Great, 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 great. My daughter, it's just like this ebb and flow.
Yeah.
It never stops. And I get it. When people, sometimes it can be a bit too much. I understand that, especially if I'm not the most exaggerated person. I'm also not the most just calm, cool, collected. I think I'm really like in the middle. But for someone who wears their heart on their sleeve constantly, who just feel, you met people that just feel everything. Like, they will cry over a kid falling down at the playground, hurting their knee. Like, they're crying. Like, what are you crying about? That kid. And you're like, all right, come on now. You can see that this stuff gets too much. And maybe that's Robin Williams, or the chef guy, I can't even think of his name now.
Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah, maybe I think these people just had a high capacity for empathy, and I think it was too much for them. How much suffering can a person who's very empathetic toward how much can you take?
I think, and when everybody tells you that you're supposed to be happy,
Yeah.
and you're not,
Yeah.
yeah.
Life it's a struggle more than a lot of time. It is a blessing. Don't get me wrong. You wake up, sun's out, it's a nice day. You look outside, and it's in awe. When I drove up to Colorado, just looking at those skylines, I was like amazed. I was like, wow, it's truly one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. But, then there's the harshest realities that we die, or something bad happens, or, like my wife's friend, your kid gets cancer at 17. Like, how do you even process that?
Well, in the past 2 weeks, I've been watching a lot of Norm Macdonald clips. And so the thing is, though, is occasionally when he's just being dopey, there's moments of extreme profoundness. He was talking to Anthony Jeselnik, and he was talking about how he's just, anybody who is alive is lucky to be alive.
Right, that's true.
Because if you just think of the mechanics of how life begins, you're 1 in trillions
Oh yeah.
of different souls
Yes.
in that one instance when conception begins.
Yeah.
Any other aspect of that happens, and you're not you. That's someone else.
I mean, it's probably more than I don't even know if we could quantify it. Truthfully, I mean, if we look at it like that way, your parents have to meet at the exact moment, connect on the same day. Their courtship has to begin at a certain time for them to have you conceived at a certain time. That's them. You have to go back prior generation.
well, the thing and it's not just that; it's everything that you've done, ate.
Yeah, no, that's true. Right.
You-
You could have
so many
choked on a hot
things.
dog at 2 years old and be dead, which has happened to many. You're right. It's like, I don't think you can quantify it.
Well,
like,
I mean, there's certain diets that will lower and increase egg population.
yeah,
and
right,
sperm
right.
count
Sure,
and-
yeah, yeah. I mean,
and
there's so many,
there's
right?
So many things, and how many partners you've had, how many times you've
Yeah.
done it.
It's a
There's
miracle.
so many things
miracle.
that go
Yeah.
into it that put you on this planet. And to think yourself lucky is just so far from where you should be.
Yeah. And right. I mean, I guess that's, once again, I guess you're afforded a certain luxury if you get to a certain part in life and you can kind of live comfortably. We talked about this last week, but you can kind of have these thoughts. But if you're living a terrible life and, for example, you're Elizabeth Smart and you're kidnapped by some wacko guy and he's raping you every day, you're not sitting there thinking, I'm lucky to be alive, right? There's 0% chance you're thinking that. You're thinking, what did I do? Why am I here?
Yeah.
I don't know. Life is just, I just don't understand it. You're right. And I don't know. I just wonder. I mean, we talked about the beginning of civilization, but where is the end of civilization at? I mean, nothing, I don't know, man. I just don't think anything can last forever. Like anything. And even that scientists know that in billions of years the sun will burn out, right? And we won't be here. I mean, so it doesn't really matter unless there's reincarnation and keep going back. But odds are we're not going to be here when it all ends. And I guess it's just a lesson. Yeah, I guess you have. I was watching a movie and it said it was a Woody Allen movie, and the guy said, "My mom said live every day if it was your last day, and one day you'll be correct." And I was like, I mean, it's kind of a joke, but I was like, it's kind of serious. I mean, it's like, you're right. I mean, you can't live every day like it's your last day off. You can't go out and spend all your money every day, but
Yeah.
we should be, I guess, just embracing certain parts of life that all of us are guilty of. It's not like it's some revelation. We're not appreciative a lot of time of our situation in life. We're not appreciative. We have a house, we have food, we have this, because you'll have like a bad day at work and you come home and just, that's the last thing on your mind, But anyway, my grandmother passed away this week, and I'm glad for her that she was able finally to be pain-free. Comfort, and, if there is any kind of afterlife, universal spirits or anything, hopefully she's able to connect with mom and, whatever that entails, So hopefully that, I'm sure that kind of helped her through it as the end. But we're not spring chickens, and we're getting older, and more people are going to start dying, and especially as we get really older, more people are going to. I watched Network the other night for the first time. I've never seen that movie. It is one of the best movies I think I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
Fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend everyone go see it. But the older guy is like the network of the TV thing, and this person walks up and goes, "How are you doing?" He goes, "I'm doing terrible. Everyone I know is dying. I lost my best friend last week. I lost another friend 2 weeks ago." He goes, "I've got 3 friends in the hospital." He goes, "When you get to this age, that's what happens. Death starts coming around you." I'm like, oh my God. I don't even know how I'm going to be able to handle that. So I don't know. I get it. Like, my dad is a guy who I've talked about on the show many times, and he's a weird dude. He was his own guy. And I think he retreated from his entire family, right? He has no contact with me, my brother, my sister, no one. He does not talk to any of us. And I think it's, in a weird way, there is some comfort in people who do that because they don't have to experience the pain of maybe losing people. The less people you know, obviously the less people you're going to know that pass away,
Yeah.
right? But
Is it worth it though?
yeah, I don't think so, but
No.
I used to think a lot of things. So I don't know. I mean, maybe you get to a part where if you lose everyone and you're the last one standing, it may not be worth it. You know, if you lost your family tomorrow, and that would you would not say, "Yo, it was worth it." I mean, I know people say that in movies and things like, you know, I was just happy I was able to be with my wife. You know, the movie of the week: the wife gets cancer after they get married, dies, and you're like, I'm just glad.
At least I had that time. With
I'm like,
at least.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I hope I don't have to experience that anytime soon. But is the pain worth it in that example? I don't know. But, you know, losing a loved one, yes, will definitely make you ponder the reality of life and death. And so that's that. So, yeah, I mean, rest in peace is all I got to say about that. And cancer is just atrocious, you know. And it's been a really strange last 2 years, man. Honestly, I know people say, oh, it's been strange. It's really been strange for me. Like, so I can't even comprehend. But that was my week. What's going on with you? Anything new?
Just yesterday, I started physical therapy on account of the accident I was in back in August, and that's going to be a drain on my schedule.
Yeah,
the little bit of sleep that I do get is going to be compromised just a little bit more.
So you injured your back in the car accident.
Yeah.
So you tell me, how many times a week do you have to go to physical therapy for your back?
3 times a week.
That's bonkers. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So 3 days a week, every week for the next at least
2 weeks, and then I guess they're going to reassess from that point.
Well, maybe to get really good and maybe to go down to once a week. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for someone who works midnights, watches his kids during the day. That's not allowing much time for sleep. And I mean, John, I've harped on John about this before. That's just, it's tough, man. I don't know. I mean, obviously, you know, people say, I don't know if I could do it. Well, you could do it if you had to do it, obviously. Yeah. And like, you know. I do want to say Glenda's with us in the chat tonight. Robin, we have Lynn in there, a few other people. But Glenda said cancer took my dad in 1972 and my sister this year. Her sister just passed away a couple weeks ago. And then Lynn said, I've had some people really close to me die lately. One today. It has really had me thinking. Sorry about your grandmother. Oh, I'm sorry about your friend passing away. And, yeah, that sucks. But, you know, getting your back rehab sucks as well on a different plane and level. Yeah. But hopefully they get it fixed, you know. So they said the goal was to get it fixed completely, right? Because you don't want to be 55 years old with, like, chronic back pain. No. I mean, I know people, and it is not a fun time. Like, I work with someone who's in constant pain right now. I keep harping. I said, you got to go back to this doctor or get a new doctor because you shouldn't be in pain every day of your life for like 3 months. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. So getting the rehab. So you can tell people you went to rehab. Yeah. That's technically true. Anything else going on this week?
No, not really.
Well, let's jump. Something we usually do later, but let's just do it. Like, so I've been watching a lot of movies, TV shows. I told you I was going to go see Shang-Chi. Okay. Now, I go out to my in-laws' lake house in Winchester, Tennessee. Very conservative, very redneck, Trump country.
Yeah.
All right, so we look on that. We're going to go to the drive-in theater, which I love to do. It's fun. Try to do a couple times a year. And so I look and it's like, all right, Shang-Chi, Macho Cry, or whatever that show, Clint Eastwood, and then Candyman. All right, whatever. I mean, I'm going to go watch Shang-Chi. We get up there, I pull up, I notice there's no one in the parking lot. There's 3 cars. And normally there's hundreds of cars, right? I went, okay, well, I mean, I noticed the town was kind of slow the day. We'd went out and just kind of spent the day as a family doing whatever. And I get there and I'm like, this is weird. So I pull up to the thing. I'm like, all right, I want to go see I said Shang-Chi because I was like, there's no way they know it's pronounced Shang-Chi. And she goes, well, honey, that projector's broke. And I went, oh, I said, should I go with the other 2 movies showing? She goes, Macho Cry and Candyman. I didn't know I said this. My wife told me. I go, well, that ain't gonna work. That's what I said. I don't remember saying that, but
I can hear you saying that
for sure. So. Yeah. And I pull around. And I go, something ain't right about it. Something's not sitting right with this to me. You're telling me that's the #1 movie in America. I got an idea. Why don't you take off Macho Cry and move that movie to that one, and maybe you'd have some customers here. And I started thinking in the back of my mind, and this is just a thought. It's not, I don't have factual. I went, is this a racist thing? Because I drive, okay, so that's on the edge of Winchester. So then we drive through Winchester. It's like one of those like circle city town hall type things. Cute little small. You got your courthouse. You got all your business around, like Columbia and places like that. I drive past their theater. They're not showing it either. They're showing Macho Cry with Clint Eastwood. And I went, this is a bit odd. I don't know. So I did not get to go see that movie, is what I'm telling you, which kind of sucked for whatever reason. But did get to watch the new What If this week. What if?
Amazing.
What if Ultron
won?
What if he had the Infinity Stones, essentially? All right, so John, what did you think of this episode?
This was the best episode.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Hands down.
Hands down?
Hands down. And I mean, I really did like some of the other ones, but this was just,
Okay.
it's just really good.
Okay, I'm not going to give anything away, but I'll just speak in broad strokes here. I loved it. I thought it was really good as well. I thought the ending was probably the best ending so far, but very small on the Marvel hero scale. Very small Marvel heroes in this movie. I mean, so in the two Marvel heroes that are supposed to save the planet, I was like, we're doomed. I mean, if it come down to those two, we're dead. Like, I'm just going to tell you one of them. Hawkeye's in this episode, okay? And
Heavy.
I mean, he's in most of it.
Yeah.
And there were some clever things they did with those two. It's him and Black Widow. Okay, I'll just tell you whatever. And that's not.
I mean, you find out right away.
Yes, it's literally 2 seconds into the episode. And I was like, I mean, if it's up to Black Widow, who at least seems to be in the Marvel movies, has superpower. I know she does not have superpowers, but the things she does, she's got some type of abilities. Like the stuff come on, man. Like if you've seen Black Widow, we would be dead doing any of those things, right?
Yeah. But
Hawkeye, come on, man. This guy. What is your thoughts of Hawkeye in the MCU? Like, are you pro or anti, or are you just in the middle? You like this guy? Because the Hawkeye series is coming out, and I told you I'm not very interested in this at all. I mean, I will watch it, obviously. I've watched all of them, but
I think Marvel's done a great job to get at least me interested in every character that they put out.
Okay.
And so he's just enough quippy for me to like him as his personality wise, but not over the top. And I can understand a lot of the way he feels when he feels certain things. And so whenever I can see myself in a character, I tend to like the character.
Him and Black Widow would die in any fight instantly. I mean, when those aliens are coming down Avenger, I'm like, they're dead. Like, there's no way. They have nothing. And if I was going to go, well, you wouldn't see this in the Justice League. I went, oh, Batman's in the Justice League. So I guess I'm kind of wrong on that one. But that would be only knock. I love seeing.
I mean, I've seen, and let's face it, him and Green Arrow.
Same guy.
They're the same guy.
Yeah. The only reason
the only thing is at least with Hawkeye, there's more of the training.
Well,
lifetime
you talking about the
more.
movies or the comic book? Because that's like in the comics, he was just like some circus archery guy.
Yeah, but he'd been doing it his whole life. Whereas Oliver Queen.
Well, yes, but I like Oliver Queen better because at least he has a personality that I don't think Hawkeye has as much. You're like he's quip. They're all quippy, John. They're all quipping lines.
That's what I started the statement with. I
was like, these guys should be comedy writers with the amount of quips they have during battles, where their life is about to be ended. They're cracking wise. I'm like, that sometimes a little bit goes over the top. I'm like, come on, guys, we got to chill out with some of these lines, bro. I mean, if Spider-Man, that's his thing. He's doing it because he's scared out of his mind. I'm like, okay, I get that. Hawkeye is not scared out of his mind. Okay, Black Widow, they're trained fighters essentially, right?
Well, and the thing is in the episode, he does kind of make a comment to justify that.
Yeah, I guess, but
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But that being said, fantastic episode. I don't want to give too much away, but Ultron, let's just say he fights some people, and the internet lost their mind about one battle that ended in 2 seconds. And people are like, no, that's stupid. And I do kind of get that. That is, like, if he could kill this person in 1 second, you saying he couldn't kill Hawkeye and Black Widow? I mean, you got to be kidding me, bro. I mean, the guy he killed is one of the most elite, powerful people we've seen in Avengers movies, without a doubt.
Yeah.
He kills this guy in 1 second. I'd say 2 because he once again he's quippy with a line, right? Or he gives like a little joke. I'm like, why is?
I wouldn't say it was a joke.
Oh no, it was a bro. Come on.
He was like, well, this is interesting.
I thought he
And then
said.
boom.
I thought he said something about balance.
No.
Well, yeah, I guess so. You're right. So anyway, but that being said, yes, it was great. I would have liked if I could have traded out.
To me, there's justification for that kill based on something that happened in one of the movies.
I mean, whatever, man.
I can't say it without giving it all
right,
away.
but I would just say maybe it was Spider-Man and like somebody else, I would have given it a 10 out of 10. I just like seeing Spider-Man in every What If. I mean, come on. I think he should be in all of them because I think he's just a great character. But anyway.
I wholeheartedly agree.
When does the series end? Do we have an idea when this? Because I keep going. Okay,
they have a season 2.
Was this the end of season 1?
I think they're doing 10 episodes.
Well, this hasn't been 10, right?
No.
Okay, good. Because my biggest threat is I'm gonna get on Disney Plus on Wednesday and it's gonna be gone. Oh, it says okay. So it's got 9 episodes. So there's one more. So the last one is next week, and it features Star-Lord, I guess, based on the art. I don't know. So we'll see. Maybe it's.
We still haven't seen Gamora yet, and in the previews for the whole thing.
Yeah, she's in it.
They do the circle shot, and she's in the circle shot, but she has Thanos' double-edged sword.
I thought Gamora was in the Thanos one with Star-Lord.
Where?
He meets her at the bar.
That's Nebula.
Oh, it wasn't Gamora?
Nope.
Okay, well. Well, the picture has Star-Lord and Thor in it, so maybe it's right after he meets Guardians. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, it's been a very fantastic series. I mean, yes. I would say, yes, the last episode was definitely in the top 3 without a doubt. You know, the ending was great. And if you like The Watcher, it might be the one for you. So if you haven't watched it yet, I highly suggest you go check that out. So, all right. Well, let's get into some news. You know, we talked on this podcast a lot about our man R. Kelly in the past. R. Kelly has been on trial for
drip, drip, drip.
Some bad stuff. Basically, I mean, he was on Monday. R. Kelly was found guilty on all 8 counts of sex trafficking and 1 count of racketeering for his 11 victims, plus countless others. One of those being Aaliyah, who was 15. Oh, people saw things with those too, which I've heard about for years. It's kind of like when Hannibal Buress would talk about Cosby, and everyone's like, yeah, we know about that. I mean, I've heard the R. Kelly Aaliyah stuff for a long time. It makes sense. I mean, she was 15 years old. So anyways, okay. So he has been found guilty. He's pretty much going to die in prison. I mean, he's looking at probably 30 years minimum, and he's at least 50 years old. So,
I mean, well, when you go to prison for something like that,
he might be all right. He's R. Kelly. I mean, he's going to say, obviously he's going to go to prison and say, he's continued to say this, none of this is true, right? So if he goes to prison and all those guys know him, I think R. Kelly's going to be all right. If this was like Phil Collins or somebody like that, he would be toast. Truthfully, he would be dead. So anyway, yes, R. Kelly was found guilty, but here's the great thing I like. Bill Cosby decided to share some thoughts on R. Kelly.
Oh, gosh.
Says in July, Cosby, who had been accused, and we got to understand, Cosby is a free man today. He's walking the streets today. He'd been accused of sexual assault by more than 50 women. On Tuesday night, they spoke with Andrew Wyatt, a spokesperson for Cosby. He said Cosby believes Kelly was screwed and that he wasn't going to catch a break during a trial. The deck was stacked against him. His constitutional rights were grossly abused. I don't know anywhere but in this country, in the United States, that a documentary can bring criminal charges against someone. That's just some of the thoughts Mr. Cosby had. How big of a shock was this to you, A, when this started, and B, that he was actually found guilty?
In this day and age, I'm not trying to give him any benefit of the doubt because I mean, he's guilty. Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. But in this day and age, if if there's anything that's done wrong to someone, somebody's head's gonna hang.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, I would be more surprised without like 100% proof of someone's innocence for any charge like this for someone to get off.
Yeah, I mean, if someone has made a documentary, that means they've talked to a number of witnesses, number of victims. You're not just going to go out and film a documentary with no proof. You'd be sued, I would believe. I mean, I would think if me and you went out and made a documentary about Tom Hanks or something, and basically we had no proof whatsoever, I believe we would get sued into the ground if it even got released, you know?
Yeah.
This is, I mean, it's crazy to me that, once again, we've known about these things. It was a bit on the Chappelle Show, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they
20
were
years ago.
making jokes about it back then.
Yeah.
We've known, like I said, if you knew pop music, you knew about Aaliyah. You knew he was doing these things. He was capturing these women. It's like insane to me that it took a documentary for this to get expedited. It took a stand-up comic named Hannibal Buress to go on stage and go, Cosby's a rapist, when the entire industry of comics knew about this, and not one of them said a thing. And they can all sit there and go, I didn't know, or I didn't know for sure. But it's like, when you start asking questions, like if we were in just a band and another band, like, dude, that dude rapes girls, and like we kind of knew, I would start asking questions like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
You can't turn your back and go, yeah, I heard he was a rapist, but you know, what are you going to do? Believe everything you hear? Well, you can ask questions. I'm not saying you believe everything you hear, but yeah, I've told you before. I met a guy at a restaurant I was working at. Went and hung out. I mean, you met this guy. You probably don't remember it. Hung out with the guy, and on the way back, we drove in his car. And on the way back, he's dropping me off in my car. He just goes, hey, by the way, I just got to tell you something. I've been convicted of rape. And right then, I was like, in my head, this is done. Like, I'm never hanging out with this guy again. And like his explanation was like, I couldn't even believe it. I was like, what in the hell? Well, you know, things were getting hot and heavy, and but you know how it is. I'm thinking, not really, bro. No, I don't know how it is. And I'm like, did you look at me and think like I associated with you, bro? Like, did you think me and you were the same team? Because we're not. I guarantee you. So, anyways, R. Kelly, yeah, probably gonna die in prison. But I mean, you know, Chuck Berry was in prison. He got out. Cosby got out. OJ's out. Hell, he may get out in 10 years. You know. I mean, so there we go. Well, speaking of another story we've been following very closely, Miss Britney Spears is finally free of her father. Now, it doesn't mean she's out of the woods yet with everything, but the biggest story, and we've talked about this quite a bit, headline says, Britney Spears on cloud nine as she celebrates freedom after 13 years of conservatorship. Her 13-year conservatorship neared an end on Wednesday after a judge suspended her father's conservatorship, and the pop superstar declared she was on cloud nine right now. And the judge said, I do believe that the suspension of James Spears as the conservator is in the best interest of the conservatee. Conservative, that word's being thrown around a lot. This order shall be made in full force and effect. Jamie will be temporarily replaced by certified public accountant John Zabel. And Britney's personal conservator is still on the job. So, you know, if you've been following this case, which people have been going crazy for it, there's a Hulu documentary, a Netflix documentary, an Apple TV documentary, ABC, and this, I don't know if there's an Apple one, but there's an ABC 2020 about it. All kinds of stories. It's Free Britney became like one of the biggest hashtags. You know, I would say Black Lives Matter. Seriously, Free Britney is probably right underneath it. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere without it. And people have fought for it, and we've talked about it, and I just hope. I'm not defending her dad because I don't know the guy. I'm going on what I've read from Britney diehards. I would say it a little suspect if I was my daughter's conservator and I was like making her perform constantly, medicating her, giving her medication in packages to take. It's a little weird, you know.
I mean, it sounds a lot like what was going on with Brian Wilson.
Yeah. With his,
post Beach Boys.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just hope that the next person is John Zobel, whoever he is, Zabel, whatever his name is.
Has her best interest.
I hope so. But who's going to have her best interest at this point? This woman is obviously worth a lot of money. And what you're hoping that this public accountant is just the guy that, I mean, and maybe because of public scrutiny, he'll have no choice but to be a good guy,
Yeah.
I think that was the Me Too movement.
He's definitely going to be under a microscope.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the fans will be black. They'll probably have this guy's full history. It's probably already out right now. If he's done something bad, it's going to be out there, bro. And the Me Too era of life, I think, is now just telling people, like, hey, if you're doing these things, stop doing them.
Yeah.
Like, not because you're a good person, but because we're watching you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's how society has to work, unfortunately. We live in a world where we talk about all the time. You can have 8 stand-up people. You start a colony of 10 people. 8 people are stand-up. They're good guys. They're doing what's right. 2 scumbags, they messed up for everyone. So now we're pointing pointing back at them going, hey, you're going to do good, not because you want to, because we will publicly crucify you if you're not. And maybe that's what's been required. I don't know.
Man, it sucks that it comes to this, but yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's insane. So any thoughts on Free Britney? I mean, are you hopeful?
I'm hopeful.
Are we hopeful that she is, and I've said this before, and I know, man, if people listen, they love Britney, but are we sure she's mentally competent? I don't know this.
That's what I'm thinking is like, I'm glad she has access to more now and that she's not under her father's thumb. I'm hopeful that she can be adult about what she has,
right,
and can control herself and her whims and be smart with things.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. But good for her, and especially if it's gonna, we'll find out. I mean, this will play out. And now, do you remember the show What I Like About You and Amanda Bynes?
Mm-hmm.
She's gone down a bad rabbit hole, and she's under conservatorship as well. But she was like,
I kind of get that.
She was mentally unstable. But now there's hashtag free Bynes or whatever, and I'm like, you guys got to take a step back on it. We got to stop saying free everyone, okay? Like, we don't know that situation.
Why don't we just help Bynes, okay?
Yeah, right.
Because that's what she needs more than anything.
Hashtag help Bynes. There you go. All these people need help. On a positive note, I don't know if you knew this or not, but Mark Hoppus of Blink-182 had revealed about a year ago, I believe, a couple months ago, that he had cancer, and it came out today that he's cancer free.
Awesome.
So that's really great. So yeah, Blink-182's Mark Hoppus announced he's beaten cancer after undergoing chemotherapy treatment. He gave an update, which he was revealed to be stage 4 lymphoma.
Wow.
Yeah, that's bad. But said he went in and he's cancer free. So hallelujah for that. Regardless of who he is, I mean, I've always loved Blink-182. Yeah. I love Plus 44. I love all the music spoke to me when it came out, and he seems like a pretty cool guy. I've watched a lot of documentaries for whatever reason with Blink-182. I used to watch them on MTV all the time. They were on constantly, and good for him. You already know I've already lost 2 people this year to cancer, so good for him. But stage 4 lymphoma,
yeah, that's a beast.
I'd have been worried about that one. All right, well, that's about all the news for this week. We've already talked about What If, so I think it's just time to get going into Best Fictitious Bands. So we're going to talk about the Mount Rushmore of Best Fictitious Bands. And how this came to be, I literally one day was just at the house brainstorming. I just wrote down a bunch of Mount Rushmores. I just threw it out there. So I think this would be a fun one. I mean, I think we consume so much pop culture.
We have plenty to draw on.
Yes,
definitely.
There's tons of great fake bands out there, whatever the story would be. So when you approached your list, what are you looking at for your Mount Rushmore of fictitious bands?
I did not choose any single artists because I figured, that might even be its own list.
Yeah, I didn't either.
So everything that I chose was a band.
Okay.
And one I did not include, just because the fictitious band, as it were, was too close to the real thing, was the Family from Purple Rain.
Yeah, I steered clear.
To me, it was.
Yeah,
I mean, it would be a welcome number 1.
Yeah, I mean, yes, obviously.
but
Yeah, that's a good point.
Too close to the real deal.
I thought about it. I did think about it for half a second. I went, nah, Prince is like a real,
And so, that thing, except for minor, teeny tiny, minute changes,
right.
that could have been a documentary that was just...
I mean, I feel it is a documentary, truthfully. I mean, you go back and hear stories. It was literally just the bands with different names, right? I mean, like, it was literally just the bands. So yes, I looked at importance pop culturally. Do people know who this band is?
No.
Do they know they're a fake band? I started looking a little bit deeper. Not necessarily. I think everybody I'm going to pick, this might be true, but I was like, I found that most of these bands put out really good music. I was like, music I actually listen to quite frequently, or at least I don't skip it if it comes on my playlist.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're good. So movies, TV show. I think most of mine are, we'll see. Most are movies, but there's a TV show or two in here. All right. Well, we're going to go 1 to 4 then. John reminded me I get to go first. So
I mean, if I had to remind you, I'm kicking myself for it because
I know, you probably could have said you go. I go, okay, yeah, go ahead. I don't know how you could do any list without saying Spinal Taps number one.
Yes.
I mean, this is the greatest.
I wanted them to be on my list so bad.
This is the greatest fictitious band of all time.
Yes,
as seen in the Rob Reiner mockumentary.
This is
Spinal Tap, where you're introduced to a band that's been around since the 60s, okay, through the 70s. Had a meteoric rise and then a steep downfall. But this movie, I tell people, if you're in a band you haven't seen it, shame on you.
Yeah.
It's one of the most, it's quoted all the time. Anytime someone says, this goes up to 11,
I'm surprised that you didn't know for more fanfare before you actually mentioned the name. But, me, I would have beaten around the bush, but throwing it.
You just got to come out strong as Spinal Tap. But here's the kick. The music is actually really good. It's really good. And this is Christopher Guest and his crew of people. And they've got other bands that have been other mockumentaries. I don't know if they'll make an appearance on your list or not, but he obviously took time to make these sons for this movie. The songs had to be
Michael McKean and Harry Shearer.
Yeah, Harry Shearer is they're great. But they crafted this music. I mean, there's songs from the 60s in there.
Yeah.
Give me some money. They go up to the kind of 70s rock, and they're coming out of that cheesy hair metal stuff. So Spinal Tap, man, it's not going to get any better than that. That is the best band that's just been presented on movies or TV screens. So Spinal Tap is my number one. John, who's your number one?
As far as fictitious bands that I listen to the music outside of the movie.
I already know who this is. Go ahead.
This is the number 2. And but I'm still putting it as my number 1.
Okay.
And this is the Oneater. Just kidding. The Wonders.
That's a good one. So the Wonders come from the movie That Thing You Do, Tom Hanks movie.
And the thing is, oddly enough, in this movie, my favorite song in the movie isn't even played by them. It's played by another fictitious band called the Chantrellines.
Yeah. Oh, Hold My Hand, Hold My Heart. Dude.
It's a great song.
Let me tell you something about that Thing You Do soundtrack. It is a great soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to do, I thought we did soundtracks, but I don't know what we did, man. I thought we did, but I don't remember doing that with you. But I remember talking about it with someone. So I don't know where.
We may have talked about it, just we didn't do
we got to
it
do soundtracks at some point. But That Thing You Do is one of my favorite soundtracks of all time.
Oh, yeah.
And the theme song was written by the bass player from Fountains of Wayne, who passed
rest in peace from COVID.
Jeez, Wayne Schlesinger, I believe is his name. But I already loved Fountains of Wayne, loved that band, and then I found out he wrote these songs. Of course he did. I mean, That Thing You Do is a banger. That was a single in the '90s that sounded like the Beatles.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable. That rarely happens, like where this hit comes out of where it's like, oh, that's a throwback to the 60s. Fantastic. But anyways, yeah, what do you love about the Wonders, man?
Oh, there's like you said, so many good songs. And they're like, there's another song called That Thing You Do.
Right.
That's on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And it's to me, it's an even better song, but I mean, it doesn't have that 60s vibe to it. So I can see why they chose the one they did. Plus, it was the one they did was the more upbeat one.
Right.
So, They have another song that I've sung to my kids since infancy, called "Dance with Me."
Yeah. Oh, baby, won't you dance with me?
Yeah.
Dude, I love this soundtrack. That "Hold My Hand, Hold My Heart" is probably the best song in the entire.
I
would
song.
agree with you. So if you've never checked out "That Thing You Do" soundtrack, you need to do it. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
My favorite fact about the movie, I mean, it's a great movie. On top of that, it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
It tells about a band that is a garage band, makes it big, falls. I mean, that seems to be the common theme of all these movies. But I love that the bass player never has a name in the movie. He's just called
TB player.
TB player.
If you look at the credits, yeah.
So fantastic. Played by Giovanni. No, it's
Ethan Emery.
yes, Ethan Emery,
Giovanni Ribisi was the former drummer.
Yes.
He broke his arm.
which is crazy. Those guys are in the same movie because they favor each other. But yes, yeah. Ethan Emery, who was in
Can't Hardly Wait.
yes, that's his big
and
movie.
another great soundtrack movie, Empire Records.
Oh yes, yeah, he's fantastic. Man, what happened to that guy?
I don't know. He could have done a lot.
He was amazing. He was like my favorite guy in most of those movies. I was like, I love this guy. So
He was awesome in Empire Records.
yes, oh, he was so great. All right, well, The Wonders, good one. All right, my number two is going to be. Now this may be the oldest one we list today, but when I was a kid, I watched this band on TV,
Oh man.
Nick at Night, and the main guy, his name was Davey Jones.
Yeah.
I was called Davey. I loved him because I wanted to be the lead singer of the friggin' Monkees, man. The Monkees are my number two. So the Monkees were essentially just a ripoff of the Beatles.
Yeah.
There's no way to go around it.
To comedic effect.
Yes. And the show was funny enough, but their songs, which they didn't perform. They got the Wrecking Crew to do all their music for them, but their songs are fantastic. They have legit, like, I know Spinal Tap's good, Wonders is really good, but the Monkees' biggest hits may be up there with music from the 60s. I mean, Daydream Reliever, like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Last Train to Clarksville?
I heard that's actually a anti-war song.
Really?
Yeah, they're actually talking about Clarksville, Tennessee.
Ah, okay.
And you've got the Fort Campbell.
Okay.
That's right there.
Ah, okay.
And the last train to Clarksville has been "I'm Not Coming Back."
Okay, gotcha.
And so there's a lot of really good songs. When I said my preface for the Wonders,
Yeah.
I said the number 2 band that I
Monkees
listened
was
to.
your number one?
Yeah.
I mean, I sing the theme song to the Monkees today on a regular basis. I just love that song. Here we come walking down the street. I mean, come on, man. We're the Monkees. When you're a kid, that's got to be like one of your favorite songs. I mean, it's so great. So, yeah, great show.
Great music.
Yeah, Davey Jones, like I said. When you're a child and you have like an unusual, maybe like, I didn't meet many Davies. Like, that's what everyone literally called me, Davey. And when I saw this guy come in, I was like, his name is Davey? Oh, that's my favorite guy of all time. So, probably if the Monkees were real, there is some very The Who iterations as well, because he is kind of small in stature, like Roger Daltrey. I never thought about that. Okay, so yes, the Monkees are my number 2. John, who is your number 2?
I really hate you for taking that one.
I mean,
I didn't think you would.
Oh, come on.
I thought it'd be further down your list. That's what I thought. I am going to go. I'm going to go funny, and I'm
Okay.
going to go with the Wild Stallions.
Oh, nice. Bill and
Ted.
Ted. So Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and then
Bill and Ted Face the Music.
now, have you seen Bill and Ted Face the Music?
I still have not yet.
It's pretty good, actually. It's actually pretty good. I start watching it on a plane, and I was like, all right. I mean, you got to kill some time. This was like this was a flight. It's a pretty long flight. And I was like, all right, I'll watch Bill and Ted. I think we were coming to the end of the flight, so I only got to watch like an hour of the movie. I'm like, this is actually pretty good. So when I got home, I rewatched. I said, pretty good. And I think the franchise has been pretty good. I mean, it's goofy, of course. I mean, Bill and Ted have to form the band, the Wild Stallions, to save the world. So I mean, that's kind of the concept. What makes them your number 2? What do you love about the Wild Stallions?
I mean, their music saves the universe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they got to be special somehow.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But I mean, the dopiness and just kind of the way they time travel is explained in their universe or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I mean, it just it's a unique take. I mean, it's a very unique take on that aspect.
I mean, for sure.
And then, I mean, the first movie is just so iconic, and just out of the every aspect of that movie is just so. Did that really just happen? But yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
it
I mean,
did.
it's insane. If you've never seen Bill and Ted, they have to go back in time.
They basically kidnap these super famous historical figures
where they can pass a test at school, where they can form a band.
Because one of them's gonna get sent to
military school. It's ridiculous. I mean, if you walked in and pitched that to anyone, they'd be like, "Bro, get out! Stop smoking weed and get out of here." But it works. So yeah, I mean, Keanu Reeves is fantastic. So. Good one. I had that on also. I mean, I had that on my list. So, all right, number 3. I'm going to Galaxy Far, Far Away. There's a band that shows up. They only perform one song, but my God, when you're a kid and you see these freaking aliens rocking out on Jabba's Hutt's slave ship, the Mos Eisley Cantina Band, and what I remember most is a blue elephant-looking guy hammering those keys. Man, you got that woman singing. I've always liked that band. Now, you can argue of all the songs on there, if you just played these for people, anyone our age is going to know that song instantly. Yeah. Like, oh, Star Wars, yeah. But I just love the idea of this band. Like, we've had, John, we were in a band. We've had some pretty crappy gigs, right? I mean, we've had some stupid gigs.
Yes.
I never could see myself going, hey, Jabba the Hutt wants you to play on his ship as he's basically killing people and feeding them to monsters. And they're like, that's us, boss. We got the gig. And they were pretty good. I mean, if Jabba the Hutt doesn't kill you, you got to be a decent musical band. Yeah. So, but I love that Blue Elephant guy, man. I love that dude. He's the key master. So that's my number 3. I had to go to Star Wars, man, because that every time as a kid I would watch that. I just think I want a series about that band, truthfully. If Disney Plus is listening, make the Mos Eisley Cantina Band TV show, and I guarantee you people would watch it 100%. So there you go. That's my number 3.
You're going to go off-world. I think I'll go a little off-kilter myself.
Okay. What you got?
And go with Dr. Teeth and Electric Mayhem.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Go ahead. Tell who it is if they don't know.
Everyone who doesn't know, Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem is the band. Well, first of all, you don't know a lot of bands by the drummer. I mean, you know Genesis, maybe the Eagles. I mean,
that's rare. Yeah,
that's rare.
It's rare. Yeah.
But the most famous person in the band is Animal, the Muppets.
Yeah, he is a rock star. But I mean, it's not called. But it is Dr. Teeth's band.
It is, but I mean, still.
I mean, Animal's the most popular person for sure. I mean, yeah. Yeah, no, I love Dr. Teeth, man. I mean, what a character. I mean, obviously it's based on Dr. John, right? I mean, there's no doubt, right? But when you're a kid watching that band, yeah, I mean, Muppet is. I mean, Animal's obviously the coolest one as a child, you know. Yeah. And I got a little bit older, and I said, Dr. Teeth, that dude's kind of cool. I actually would like to be that guy. Do you know who else was in the band? I know they had the girl.
Venus was the girl.
Okay.
And then Rolf.
Played that's
the
okay.
Keys.
I knew there's somebody else. I was like, there's somebody else. Okay, yeah, Rolf was pretty cool too.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that's good tunes, man. Especially you watch it on Saturday or whenever you watched it, like fantastic. So, all right, well, I like that one. I definitely I did not write that one down, but I thought of it. So I've just got too many written down. So, all right, my last one, I'm gonna go off kilter here. You said off kilter. I'm about to go really off kilter. I watched this movie today, and before I watched the movie, I started listening to the soundtrack, and I was introduced to this fictional band many years ago by our friend Chris. And Chris said, I've got this movie you need to watch. You're going to love this. The songs are amazing, but I need to tell you the plot of it before you watch it. I was like, all right, go ahead, man. He said, there's a guy.
This is Hedwig.
He lives in Europe.
Yeah.
He meets a guy.
He gave me the same speech.
He had a botched surgery. botched sex change surgery and comes to America as a man and then starts writing these songs about his life. In that band, like John just said, Hedwig and the Angry Inch. Now, I know I'm describing that movie, and you're probably rolling your eyes if you've never seen it. Like, I ain't watching no movie about no transgendered dude. Look, even if you hate the movie, which I think the movie's superb. It truly is a movie. I love the movie. The soundtrack is killer. It is probably, of all these, and I've talked highly about all these, it's probably the best music of this entire list. And yeah, Hedwig is the lead singer, and I guess she is just, I mean, you've got a country song in there, you got like punk rock songs, you got like arena rock songs, you've got acoustic ballads and things, and it's basically a musical. You know, I mean, it follows their story, how they got here, and there's conflict and it's resolved. But I'm telling you, man, if Hedwig and the Angry Inch was a real life band, I would be like a hardcore fan just based on these like 12 tracks that are on the soundtrack. So anyone who hasn't listened, just put up on Spotify, listen to a couple of the tracks. And it was written by like Broadway people, the songs were. I think that's why they're so good. But man, if you like 70s rock, kind of David Bowie, you know, T-Rex type of stuff, you'll definitely like it. So yeah, that's my last one. Hedwig and the Angry Inch. All right, John, what is your last choice?
I'm going to go to my childhood. I would be remiss if I did not put this on my list. Most of their songs were covers.
Okay.
But I mean, there were a few that were actual originals, and those ones, one particular, to this day, I heard the song back in 1989. And I still think of this one specific song by them, and it was not a cover. The band is Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Oh, that's good, bro. Oh, I never even thought of them. Oh, but that's a good one. I never even thought about them.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Huh. It's a good choice.
Yeah. I've had records, plural, of Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah.
Songs, you know, Jesse's Girl, Betty Davis Eyes, you know, those types of songs,
Right.
that they would, The Witch Doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably one of their most famous
Oh,
ones.
yeah, it's got to be.
And then, obviously, some of the Christmas song, Hula Hoop.
Right.
But, and I guess what was their 6th season, they had an episode where they were doing a show in Germany. And
They run into Hedwig?
no, they did not. But it was around the time when the Berlin Wall was coming down, and there was an episode kind of dedicated to that. And they had an original song called "Let the Wall Come Down." And I mean, if you guys can find it, you'll be surprised.
That's crazy.
You will be surprised that this is on this song.
I'm gonna
on
look
the
for
kids'
this.
show.
I'm gonna look for this and make a video about this because I've never heard this song before. When I think of the Wall Point, I just think of Hasselhoff performing, but which is funny you talk about because that is one of the big. It's not a big plot, but it is a plot point in Hedwig and the Angry Inch. Like, is that as a kid, he was in it when the wall went up, and when he left, the wall came down after he had the botched surgery. So it's kind of like, damn, I should have just waited, you know. But anyway, so Alvin and Chipmunks, that's good, man, because I did not see that one coming at all. I wrote down.
I felt so like scummy because my wife had to remind me of that one.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I looked on a lot of lists. I didn't see it. So that's shame on the list. Okay. I'm going to run ours down, then we'll just talk about some we missed. I got Spinal Tap, the Monkees, the Moss Eisley Cantina Band, and Hedwig and the Angry Inch. John's got the Wonders, Wild Stallions, Dr. Teeth, and Electric Mayhem, and Alvin and the Chipmunks. Some ones just on my list, Blues Brothers. Sex Bomb from Scott Pilgrim.
List, yeah.
I love their song. Stillwater.
Yeah.
Came close.
Yeah.
But I feel, you know, I should. I
struggled with Stillwater. I wanted to put them on the list
I did too, but I don't know. Josie and the Pussycats, and the Folksmen from the Christopher Guest movie called Mighty Wind.
Oh,
that was a band in there. So that was what I had.
I had those ones. I also had Together.
Yeah, no one would know who that was, though. That's a good one.
School of Rock.
You know, I played Together for people at work, and they were cracking up. I was like, you guys ever heard of Together? If people don't, Together was a mock band made off of boy bands, and they had an MTV show called Together. No one's going to watch it, but if you get a chance, you should, because it was a funny show. It was just kind of spoofing boy bands, but it was also great because it had Kevin Farley, which is Chris Farley's brother, who is 20 years older than everybody in this group, as the older guy in the band. So fantastic. Yeah. Yes. Who else you got?
So School of Rock, Eddie and the Cruisers, and Marvin Berry and the Starlighters.
All right. What's that from? Oh.
It's your cousin Marvin?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I guess they are in more scenes. Yes. All right. Well, that was it. That was our Mount Rushmore. Linda said we should have had the Partridge Family on. Lynn Sparrow said the Archies. The Archies.
Oh, the Archies. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I mean, name the second song by the Archies.
Can't. I mean, name something about the Archies other than their arch, right? I mean, anyway. All right. Well, that's our list. Let us know what you think on social media. I'm sure we'll have ones missed, but I think we covered the majority of them. So I don't know if I'm sure we'll get stuff. I mean,
somebody's going to be mad that we didn't have Stillwater on there.
I mean, my God, man! If you walk up to people on the streets, you're like Stillwater. Most people are like, what are you talking about?
No, I mean that's why they didn't.
Even if you said Almost Famous, most people are like, what? What's that? Like, I know I love that movie. I know you love that movie, but like, I'm just saying, yes, I love the music in the movie, but the Mount Rushmore, bro. I mean, but how many people know Hedwig and the Angry Inch? To be fair, so I guess there's a point to that as well. But anyway. All right, well, we have reached the end of the episode, John. We've talked all the topics, talked about life, death, did our Mount Rushmore, talked about the news. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. What you need to do now is, go tell your friends that you love the show, spread it. I'll just be honest, downloads have been down lately, like a lot. I know you shouldn't. I know people like, you shouldn't say this, but I'm just saying it. Like, I don't know where our fan base has gone. I do appreciate everybody that reaches out and says I still listen, and I know who listens. I really do. I mean, I know, like, I don't know every specific person, but like our hardcore fans, I know they're listening because they comment or I can see. I just know where they're downloading from. But just tell a friend about the show this week, or if you think it's no good, send us a message and tell us how to make it better. I don't know. I don't know what else to say, but I think a lot of it's just spreading the word, and getting the word out. But you can do all that by going to our website, which is bybpod.com, bybpod.com. There you can get all of our past episodes. There are links to download each episode in the show notes. There's all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe to YouTube where you can just come watch the live show, and then there's ways to subscribe to the podcast. There's also the Amazon link where, you're going to buy anything through Amazon, click on the freaking link, you know. What'd you say? Halloween's coming up.
Halloween's coming up.
I bought something on Amazon for Halloween, an anonymous mask. So I'm going to go as anonymous this year. But yeah, go buy yourself. Christmas is coming up. Some people start shopping for Christmas like right now. So go to bybpod.com, click on the Amazon link, buy a whole bunch of things, and that helps support the show. So that's it. But the main thing is just spread the word. Leave us a rating if you haven't done so, blah, 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 all that fun stuff. So with all that being said, John, is there anything else?
Don't blame yourself when you can blame your brother.